What's up, everyone? It's Mark here, aka Captain DeFi from the Oz DeFi Association and at NotCentralised, and we're taking a look at the year in review for the meetups that we had for Oz DeFi Association, and it's been an amazing time across 5 cities, and we've seen quite a number of amazing things. We recorded some of those meetups and we're going to take a look into that today, as well as some photos from other meetups going on around the country. So before we begin, we just wanted to acknowledge all the amazing people that have been part of this, all our chapter leads, the people in our Discord, the folks that follow us on Twitter, LinkedIn, etc. We could not do this without you. So just wanted to thank you all, and we're looking forward to a bigger, brighter and better period of time in 2023 when we're going to do some more cities and there's going to be even more meetups. So yeah, check that out, and if you're not already subscribed, please check out the links below. So here's our first meetup. It was all the way back in February and there wasn't that many people. There's only about 15 or so here, but yeah, have a look.
Non-overlap kind of idea where I want to see the mistakes and share.
So there we are, the first ever Oz DeFi Association meetup, all the way back then. First guest was Simo from NFT Sid. There's Simo. Then we had Ben Reed from who's doing stuff with the Dark Horse and a few other projects. So he was just getting into the Web3 space. Then we had Jason over at Digital Village. Fun fact, the person that is filming a lot of our stuff is Chris from Digital Village. So thank you, Chris. Shout out to you. If you know Crypto Karen, Karen Van Eden,
couldn't resist
she was also at our first meetup too.
I signed, so.
And then we had Kat Dunn, who's our chapter lead over in Perth now, when she was still here in Sydney.
Fund that's funding women-led ventures.
So she was there talking about social impact and Web3.
Mint
so
will also go towards funding Vital Voices.
Then we also had Arturo, one of our co-founders, also talk. You can tell it was warm. He's in shorts.
Before actually entering into that,
and he talked for a while. Then we had Harry Dell. You might know him from TikTok. He runs Gadina Legal.
Come across my desk because people don't know where to go, and a big part of it.
And then we also had Mike Kelly. He was talking about his, at the time, his play to earn guild. He's working elsewhere now and still in the Web3 space. And then yeah, we had our thank yous. So that was it. That was our first ever meetup, but you can check that link out below. And now we go to our next meetup, which was back in March 2022. So the intros. We spoke about the Edge of Chaos event,
you can see the videos,
which was an NFT event that was down in Barangaroo in Sydney. We had Juan come up and talk about ETH Denver. He's building stuff on StarkNet now. We also had the Angel Alliance, and you can't see it there, but on screen was Kat Dunn talking about it. She was part of that project.
Which hasn't
we also had Sam Joel and Bianca from GiveTree, so speaking about that charity and metaverse project there. Then we had Phil Laffenberg, and you might know his partner Patricia, and Phil was talking about Web3 Academy that they've been working on. And then we went back into the ESG carbon type talks with Metatrees, so that was those guys.
No one really wants.
Then back to Harry Dell going into Gadina a little bit more. So he was at that first meetup and he's still a strong member of our community. And we were lucky enough to have Jeff Yu, who's the former Binance CEO for Australia. He runs Monochrome Asset Management now, but he was in town. We've had him up at our Brisbane events as well. But yeah, so that was that event. And then we also had Juan, who spoke about ETH Denver at the previous event, but also spoke here. He's not on screen, he's off screen, but he was talking about one of the projects that he was working on called Fish Fight 1. So yeah, that was it. That was our second meetup. We're still honing things, getting a little bit better and better, but yeah, enjoy that link below. Next up was our meetup in April, and we had Hannah from Immutable and many others. This is definitely a packed event. It was a lesson for us. We're always learning lessons from these events, but we probably had too many people at this one, but we have to give it a shot. We try things out.
So essentially, you're
Let's check
just
this out.
playing chess. But the best part of this is that everything in the game you own.
So Hannah's the vibes manager over at Immutable and runs the community there. And then we had James from Mawson. They're a Bitcoin and basically blockchain miner.
We're not seeing large institutions,
and they're doing other stuff as well. So Mawson owns Cosmos, which was looking to basically put in a crypto ETF. And they had something out there for a little while. So James is there. James and I used to go to uni together, so that's a fun fact.
We've been really lucky and
come a long way since then.
To get into the space, and
from
Bamboo was actually just been acquired
talking
at the time.
about what they were doing up there. Then we had Sagan from PwC.
Colleagues back, probably 15, 14
Sagan and I used to work together as well. He's over in Hong Kong now. Shout outs to him.
We haven't aged, but
we're talking about what PwC was doing in the space, especially out of Hong Kong.
Corporate entities that will still need audits being done.
Then it was Justin from BetaShares. I used to do a lot of stuff in the ETF space, and I still do. I've got a app called ETF Tracker. Justin was working on CRIP over there, or still is working on CRIP over there, I mean. But yeah, in this case, it's him talking about that product, keeping an eye on the crypto markets and how that relates to ETFs. Then it was James O'Donoghue from Finder.
And that business has been going.
So Finder, that comparison website, they're looking into the crypto space as well. They're very involved.
Coins, tokens.
We also had Simo and John from NFT Sid.
Amazing. If not,
John runs NFT Sydney now, which is an adjacent group. With Simo up there with him as well.
What they learned and where they think NFTs are heading.
Then we had Nick, who I work with now. He was formerly of Bishop and Fang, but this is when it was
which is digitizing
separate
financial contracts.
And he's really into the Web3 space now, so there's that. We had a pizza break, pizzas and beers. Really big at this space. Got to feed the group.
So I'm a physiotherapist, work in operations for a private healthcare company.
The awesome folks at Not Essential. If you haven't been out with them, they definitely cut a rug on the dance floor. Really cool guys.
Targeting as a passion scam of the ICOs. So
yeah, Tom Torado from CryptBliz.
ICOs and had to figure out what
should look up CryptBliz online on Twitter. He's got a really good an ecosystem map, and there's something similar over at Airtree, but it's like the Australian ecosystem of Web3. Then we went around the room. We had Requiem here, so this is goes by Requiem. Aaron Abundo. He's also the Chainlink advocate here. So if you're looking up Chainlink events, definitely worth getting in touch with Aaron.
Like TracerDAO, which is a derivatives. It was in the ecosystem.
And yeah, that was it. That was the meetup for April. Skipping ahead, let's get to May.
All right.
As usual,
okay.
I do the intros and stuff at the start.
Can you hear me okay up there?
Shouting.
You can hear okay?
I shout
Fantastic. Look at that brave soul. Everybody wave to the people.
Sorry about that. Yeah, it's usually how we do these meetups is we do intros and updates at the start of what's been going on over the past month around Australia as we started to do these in more cities, and you'll see that soon. In this one, we went over to Ben Reed, who was at our first meetup, and he's actually talking about his Dark Horse project.
Crypto space since 2017, a time the first...
Bit of background there.
What you're doing outside of this, because this is just...
We had Kat Dunn interviewing him, which is great.
Where should they go? How should they find you?
More details on how to get in touch with him.
It's a big thing. So
we had Catalyst Earth here, so this was Alex, one of the members of Catalyst Earth, along with Mitchell and a few others. So talking about that project. So there was a lot of carbon type projects in the first couple, but yeah, definitely with crypto, carbon, ESG, bettering and improving the planet. There's a lot that are out there. So those myths that crypto is not environmentally friendly. A lot of that is being dispelled, and if you're looking at that, proof of stake versus proof of work, that's something there.
So
Kat is
regenerative finance,
an
super
awesome
important. We need
interviewer.
to get more money into decarbonisation.
Proper for
and
this, especially
stimulating
considering her
more
background in space. Then we jumped over to gaming. This is Casey Barr, so from Cathion Gaming.
By December, that was the stage that I joined the
company. So talking with him there, we actually really got into a lot of detail with Cathion, and that was our final interview there. You see some of the crowd. You see me running up there, running back and forth. I get a lot of cardio out of these events because, you know, it's all about asking questions of people and getting people up on stage. And yeah, you can see the quality as well. So we started getting better equipment in for these events, especially the ones in Sydney. So yeah, that was more of that. And we'll get to the next meetup. And now we're at the halfway point through the year, and let's take a look.
So look, thanks for all of you coming again. We've got an awesome lineup of people to speak to us this evening.
We're in the Oz DeFi t-shirt along with Mike.
I just want to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land that we're standing on.
So you can see how, you know, it evolved to having Nick more involved, and now we get to work together, which is great. There was a recap from me about events that had gone on. This is a big month for Oz DeFi members in the media too. You can see them all there: Cam, Harry, myself, PD, Nick, Arturo. So that's the AusBiz financial news show. So check that one out. We got into JubiDAO, and this is the first time we meet Ash Vanderspoy, who, along with Harry, has built JubiDAO, which has a set of smart contract templates and other things. So worth checking out. So you can see we had some screenshots of what they've got on there. We even went through a live kind of minting, so connecting to you know, MetaMask.
That will manage your pre-sales.
So really cool there. Then we met Nathan at ZipMex, and ZipMex isn't there anymore, but Nathan is still a massive member of the community. He's doing a lot of stuff with Blockchain Australia, and now he's elsewhere, but still very involved in Web3.
We'll continue. So that
was an interview with him. Then we met Shane, the founder of Crypto Tax Calculator, and if you're doing your tax, especially around June, this is really good timing because, you know, this is such an important tool along with a few others out there, and we'll get to those others soon. So there's Shane at Crypto Tax Calculator. Quite a few questions there for him.
And I remember
then there was also the announcement of Tech Central, and we spoke with Ron Vandermeide from UNSW. So take a look at that.
New South Wales Government Tech Central.
So he's from UNSW, as I mentioned. They were doing quite a few things there. So very interesting set of talks and slides that he had here. A lot of questions for him after that. And then that was it. We rounded out with a panel afterwards with Howie and Jazz from KWM. Howie is over at Immutables, so yeah, we knew him from working at the ASX, and he was over at CBOE or Chi-X, and so it was really interesting. So it was nice to have a panel up there rather than just like the presentations. So really interesting stuff. Arturo moderating that one.
We won't need the layer 3.
But yeah, that was it. That was our meetup for June. Check out the link below. And now we jump over to Melbourne for the first time. And this was a proper official meetup. I had been there, I think it was in March or maybe even April. And so that was just like a small little get together amongst a few people who are our first ones there. I'll show that one later. But yeah, this is our first one that we had officially with Sensand, who are our partner down there. And Sensand, if you don't know, they do carbon credit type projects, and not just in Web3, but also Web2.
All right, well,
so,
first of all, introductions.
You can see the amazing crowd. We had such a cool group of people that we met for the first time, and we've been back to Melbourne quite a few more times. Again, Mark's shouting, apologies for that, but you've got Peter, who is one of the co-founders of Sensand. You've got Shane here from Fireblocks, Arturo, who you know, rocking the NotCentralised gear for the first time. We only had just set up that company.
Which has been focused on
so Peter describing more about what they do over at Sensand.
We've been running that for about 4
and then I think we had Shane do an intro as well. You can see the crowd there. And this is at a venue that we ran a few more times as well. I forget the name now. But yeah, it was really cool. We had our other events there.
No.
And so this is a panel
recognise an opportunity to
talking about things like what are you seeing built in the space, what can government do in the space.
Well, not emerging, particularly.
We even had Steve Vallis, who is based down in Melbourne. He was I say because now he's not anymore. He was the CEO of Blockchain Australia. He's moved on now.
Michelle and I were in the US. We met with the Fed Reserve. Who knew that the Fed Reserve in the US would want to meet with Australia?
But how cool was it from going from like a no-name organisation before having the CEO of Blockchain Australia at that time anyway. But Steve's still a very good friend of ours and an ally, and we would love to collaborate with him more. But it was really great to have him at this event, the first one that we had officially down in Melbourne. It was back to audience questions. So we had the panel, a lot of audience questions.
Yeah.
What was really good here was that it was very back and forth, and it was something that we just had to adapt to very quickly on the fly. It wasn't like asking questions at the end. It was even during the event that there was a lot of questions, and so that was really cool. Some of them were about regulation. That was Donna there asking that question. There were questions on self-regulation.
I think it's cancer.
Onshore custody as well, and we also spoke about thoughts on education in the space, and you can see a lot of the back and forth here. But
every single bad thing that happens in our space, and it's
for the first event that we had down in Melbourne, it really was a vibe. Melbourne is so knowledgeable. We'll keep on going down there, and it was amazing. Then it was off back to Sydney, and this is the first of our non-community, I guess, general type events. We still have the end of month events. We're doing them the last Wednesday every month in Sydney, but we also had these other events going on in the middle, and this one was a specialized event focusing on the layer 2 solution from StarkWare, which is called StarkNet. You can see Arturo here going through things. This is Susanna from HSF, Herbert Smith Freehills, legal, and there's a lot of legal folks in this space. Very important because of what we're doing. This is groundbreaking. So we need those that understand the law here. And this is Rez from Immutable, and me running around.
And also
so we go into the blockchain, layer 1s and layer 2s. Things are explained a little bit more. Arturo talks about the solution that we're building on StarkNet, which is trade flows, and we're still in the midst of building that one. We had Rez talking about games, so account abstraction and other concepts.
Imagine you're playing a Web 2 experience.
Talking about RuneScape there. My brother used to play that. I never really got into it, but I can see the crossovers.
Recovery mechanisms. Sorry, did you want to?
Talking about more about Cairo and smart contract language.
Zero knowledge proof.
Zero knowledge proofs.
Protocol, which was Wyvern.
We had Juan come up talking about EthCC a little bit more as it relates to this.
Again, that will change in 6 months' time.
And then we had Q&A with the audience, and so that was really good. But what was really interesting was that we got to have a surprise guest.
He's the CEO,
CEO of StarkWare.
So he's a good name.
Dialed in live.
Yuri, if you can hear me online, hello, shalom, and we will get you on very, very soon. So we're just going to figure out how.
Let's get Yuri on
with the laptop with.
We had a few technical difficulties.
It's I like the effect. Give me everything. Okay.
So it was really cool to have Yuri come on. We had to type questions to him because we couldn't at the time get the mic and all of it kind of working in sync. We had to mute ourselves so that he could speak, and then vice versa.
I think it only sort of.
But it was really good. He spoke for a few minutes, and it was really well timed. So the guests were really surprised having him there. You can see the drawings in the background. They had Bring Your Kids to Work Day over there in Tel Aviv.
Negotiating whatever with an Amazon, it's it's 1,000,000 times bigger. It's slow moving.
We had online guests as well. So for these meetups, we were using Google Meet. And it was really cool to have people be able to listen to
the
Yuri.
blockchain space presents all sorts of, I'll give you an example. We are co-funding with the Aave DAO and with the Maker DAO projects that are aimed at...
So yeah, that was really cool. And then we had some outro and other announcements, and it's off to the next meetup. Another one of the specialized events that we got to run were these Women in Web3 type meetups, and we did the first one here in Sydney thanks to Leah and Kat Dunn, and that was really cool because it was a great chance to bring the community of females and get just more diversity into the room as well. You can see we had our guests sitting right up front. So there's, let's just fast forward and actually bring them up.
The inaugural Women.
So there was quite a few. We had the host, we had Lisa Wade here. There was Vanessa Liamat from Cultural Embassy. We had Sammy Torba, also known as Vinci. And we also had Karen Van Eden, Crypto Karen. So it was an amazingly diverse set of people, from CEOs of digital asset type organizations to those connected to the universities with Vanessa there, and then Sammy doing stuff in the metaverse and tech consulting with Crypto Karen. So we went through quite a few things, and it was really great to have Leah and Kat run these interviews and just be supportive of this space. And the idea is to have these types of events bring more diversity into the main events that we're doing. It's not to build silos or anything like that, but it was really cool to have.
So Digital X, we really play
have something like this run in the middle of the year. So this is back in July.
Technology, and what we're really about is.
So there's Lisa.
Decent living. So NFTs are a way to activate a community of loyal collectors.
Here's Karen.
Do online is directed at getting women into the space. Wanted to save them 3 years of. It
was a really cool event, and here's Vanessa.
You can take a photo, and I said, and then you can. I said,
and it's just amazing to have this group of awesome people coming to the events and agreeing to speak. And you know, the folks that we had in the crowd, we had a wonderful audience for this one too, and you can see that here.
Browser or wallet you love to use, and
yeah, so audience questions too. So yeah, that was our first Women in Web3 event, and let's jump to the next one. Then it was off to Brisbane for another female leaders in Web3 event, and we've got Leah here leading the charge with Matt Hooper up there.
Females who are working in the space, women who are creating projects, who are.
So first off the bat was Samira Tolo from Elbait.
So over the past years,
this was filmed on my phone. You didn't have recording equipment up there, so had to sit up right front and center, hold the phone pretty steady.
Unfortunate fact that we do have to talk about.
Then we had the folks over at Hummel.
Probably got a very interesting story about how they got into Web3, and mine is probably very.
I mean, sorry, the recruitment. I mean, well, here you go. I've just spoiled the next 2
really
seconds
cool
of my
story,
but essentially I moved from
Australia's Blockchain Company of the Year.
Then it was Katrina Donaghy from City Pleasure.
It's always nice to be recognised by you.
And then after that we had Marina.
Was telling me something.
So Marina's running a tax type product or accounting type product called Sila.
Unfortunately, he didn't explain very well what it was.
We got to listen to that one. All of them gave their origin stories of how they got into Web3. And then we had a panel, so that was really cool.
Meetups is really one of the places where I know. There was not as many as now.
Check the information, check the source of where it's coming from, because 9.9 they work with Logan.
Positive experience.
So Leah moderating that meetup there. Sorry, the panel, and we got to hear from some awesome. From some awesome people up in the space doing their thing up in Queensland. There's a lot of audience questions too. That was really cool.
Code is the last thing that you do in blockchain or a centralized database. What you have to do as a company is build something that will be sustainable.
Subset of. So audience questions there. You can see Arturo, who was up there with me. But yeah, that was it for the Queensland Female Leaders in Web3 meetup. It was back to Sydney for some more specialised events, this time with Chainalysis.
You're all here today. My name is Mike Meisels. I am the account lead, or sector lead for crypto natives for Chainalysis.
He's a really good friend, and he runs
the
accounts for basically sales for Chainalysis.
Just a quick welcome to country. We begin today by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet and stream.
So here he is explaining a bit more about Chainalysis.
On the different networks to understand.
If you don't know, they're the premier data analytics and
to the same entity,
I guess,
or type of
on-chain
entity through,
analytics investigation kind of
through a
firm
mixture of heuristic data
globally.
patterns,
So it was really
through
cool to have them.
intelligence, through change analysis.
The
through
reason we had
different
this meetup was
patterns that
because we had a
IP'd
special
throughout
guest
the
in
time,
town,
and Jacob will go,
their
Jacob
chief
will go through this
scientist,
a bit
Jakob
further.
Ilum.
But what we're trying to identify
And
is a
so we
mixture
jump
of
into a presentation from Jakob after
both
Mike.
on and
You can
off
see
chain
him there.
data, and then trying to see
And we
how
had a
it mapped
panel.
to countries.
So it's really cool. I mean, I'm a data nerd. I still do a lot of data
like
stuff
all of
with
that.
not
And
centralized
we're separating
Web2
out
and Web3.
stable coins because stable coins.
But it was really cool to see some of these charts
Now, like,
up
all of
online.
these-
And some more of the
It's not a
explanations
crypto
there.
winter
Then it was a
because I
bit of
think,
questions
like, this orange line here,
to
that-
Jakob. Some of the data that they've got, like data on crypto crime, or in this case, which regions have high concentrations of which
DeFi
assets.
games out there and play to earn.
And so, yep, full of charts, full of data. This is really well worth it for the Web3 data nerds out there, or even if you're just a data nerd, not even into Web3, just, you know, this is something worth looking at.
Including in DeFi here, we also mean things.
They were explaining one of their new products and how they can trace things, this thing called Storyline.
Coming out on that chain around that point in time.
So you can see when things go from a hacker to a bridge out of, say, Tornado Cash, you know, what's happening with that. So yeah, very interesting. They've been able to help authorities around the world with things when they're being scams and hacks.
Into the wallet that also receives.
So we jump ahead to the
clearly ties the hacker to this
panel
wallet.
here. So we had Arturo up on stage there, along with Tim here, Tim Adele from Canvas, who are also building stuff on StarkNet. They're building basically like the immutable, but for finance.
Infrastructure to support the next billion people coming into the.
And I was moderating, so standing up and moderating
Our contribution
here.
in this space.
This is over at Haymarket HQ. Oh, not Haymarket HQ. Sorry, this is over at Iona, which is in Surrey Hills, not too far from Haymarket HQ. We've had events with them
What we are going
too.
to be doing is enabling these next billion people to enter the
Shout outs
space
to all the
by
venue providers.
using our blockchain to
have a blockchain where you're effectively giving total control.
Total control there.
And then James.
We had a lot of questions in the room as well. So yeah, if you're into basically if you're into data analytics, Chainalysis, on-chain metrics, all that kind of stuff, this was really a cool event to check out. So
To make
check
what
out the link
available, I
below.
think.
And back to the final one that we'll show, which represents where we're heading into 2023. This was our first meetup with Stone and Chalk. We'd been negotiating with them to do meetups there for a couple of months, and so it was really exciting to get the first one
more than I expected.
underway.
So for those people that had their hands up, for those people that had their hands down, ask the person next to you about it because...
A lot of audience participation there, you know, keep the audience active. I'm always on the lookout where, as a presenter, you know, seeing what the audience is, you know, jiving or biting with. If things look a bit boring, we try to excite them. But yeah, this is our first one with Stone and Chalk, and we were lucky to get Michael Bromley up on stage, who's the CEO over there.
Seems to be what you guys are all about as well, and we love things that break the mold. We love things that test the edges. And
So yeah, it was great to get their support.
We're here.
So we got straight into the interviews after highlights from the past month. We did some recaps with Arturo and Leah, who both went to the Oz Crypto Convention.
In the Lambo on the Gold Coast,
And
then
here's
you got
his
an
Nick
optional erotic massage at the end from there. Is that
talking
true,
about
or
something
maybe from
to
one of our
do
whale
with
holders, or-
Oz CryptoCon, I'm sure. And yeah, just talking about the events and what we saw up there.
So that we can actually collect, let's say, question marks around protocols that...
We spoke more about Oz DeFi in the media again.
Upcoming events, as I mentioned, when you do go to our Twitter...
And then what we had here
Or
was talking about
requirements
another project
that
that
you
we're
need to abide
building, Layer C,
And those are
which is a
not
compliance
blockchain
layer.
friendly at all.
So if you're building in this space, more and more people are realizing that, yeah, there's actually regulations, or that the current, wherever you are based, if you're doing projects here in Australia, that there are going to be regulations that will affect you just because there's no specific crypto regulation. Doesn't mean that the government can't, you know, use existing regulations and tools there. So Arturo is going through something that is being built, which is Layer C, which is helping basically developers and protocols do stuff in a more compliant manner.
People, if you want to build a protocol that actually is a financial product and you acknowledge...
So talking about that there, then we had Raymond's son from HSF as well. So he's a bit of a triple threat. He does stuff in the legal space, also in Web3, and he also does stuff in AI. And there is a bit of a convergence, so we'll see more, especially more recently, because back then ChatGPT wasn't released. And things like DALL-E 2 and Midjourney were only just starting to get out there. So Ray's here talking about the stuff that he does in the space. And he's also a breakdancer, so triple threat, quadruple threat, all of that. And there's Leah interviewing him.
To try to put forth your best case, and I found that very, very fascinating, kind of like chess. And so I started doing law.
Then we get over to Steph talking with Nick about VC in this space. And Steph also has a bit of a diverse background as well, given that she's studying medicine. So there's a lot of high achievers in this space here, that's for sure.
Seemingly just professionally curious, and you get to meet her.
It's not really our vision at Airtree. I think
talking about Airtree and her work over there.
In the history of Web3, we have seen an example of VC, Web3 VCs that.
Then we get over to soulbound tokens, which were a bit of a new thing in the middle of the year.
Amongst yourselves, and we're going to record
and
it, basically.
We've got the panel here of Mitch, Steph, and Joey.
We haven't met. I'm Steph. Hi.
Talking about soulbound tokens, SBTs.
And there is two ways that value exists. It's of course in capital, but it's also in reputation.
Joey making the crowd laugh there.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
Okay, so for example, it might be a really bad idea to store a driver's license.
There's a lot of questions about SBTs at the time, so yeah, it was really interesting to see the guys there answer it. And Solbiz, which is their business, has really gone from strength to strength.
I'm quite conscious about with this is like, why soulbound tokens? We already have NFTs, we have cryptocurrency, we already have
We had some announcements. Here's Aaron talking about Chainlink and smart
Grab a
contracts.
mic. Yeah, that's true.
Hey everyone, my name's Aaron. I'm from the internet, but most people know
Aaron from
me
the internet.
as the guy who's the Chainlink advocate.
So yeah, anything to do with Chainlink, get in touch with Aaron. And then here's John from NFT Sydney talking about some of the events that they've got up and coming. And then finally we closed out.
Woo! And hands up here who wants to, say, work with others that are doing cool stuff in the Web3 space. Hands up, hands up. Oh my gosh.
A lot of hands
you guys
there.
Are really cool.
So it's really interesting. We were hinting at doing more stuff with Stone and Chalk, a bit of a hidden secret. We were still under negotiation. We got to announce that at the end of December. We're still in December at the time of filming. This is the 28th of December. So yeah, basically it was really cool to get the word out on that we're officially opening a Web3 infrastructure hub with, Web3 Innovation Center. I say infrastructure hub because I'm thinking about other stuff, but yeah, Web3 Innovation Center with Stone and Chalk, which is starting in January 2023. It's across Melbourne, Sydney and Adelaide, so there's going to be amazing things that we're going to get to do as they support this space, as they've done with fintech, health tech, prop tech, etc. It's going to be a really amazing time, but that's it. That was our major meetup there with Stone and Chalk, and more to come in 2023. So that's a recap of the various meetups that we had, and I know that you don't see the Perth or the Adelaide events that we had. We have photos of those, and they're on our Twitter, and we'll provide some links in the comments below. But yeah, we didn't film those ones just yet, but we're definitely growing those. In the new year, we're looking to get out into the Gold Coast, Newcastle and Canberra. And we've already lined up some amazing leaders over there in those cities who will help us grow the message of what we're trying to do here at OzDeFi, which is just really to convey across the entire Web3 space, whether it's a tokenized project that you're looking at, it's NFTs, or it's something to do with infrastructure, everything to do with blockchain technology and the benefits that it can have across many businesses. We are advocates for all of that, and we're really excited to see what the meetups bring us, and what collaborations and learnings and things that we can share will happen in 2023, and we hope to see you there.